Hey now, everybody. Welcome. Hey now. Welcome to another. Fuck. Welcome to another. How does Bruce Buffer do? Is it Bruce Buffer or Michael Buffer? Which one's boxing? Is that Michael Buffer?
I don't know. I don't watch boxing.
Isn't Bruce Buffer the UFC guy? Like that's
that's the opposite. I think. No, I can't remember.
I think Michael Buffer is the dude who does he's like the original. Right, Bruce Buffer's like the brother that did the UFC.
Sure.
Are you guys UFC fans? Like, any guys UFC fans? Be honest. Like, I can see.
I like.
Hell no.
I'm not really much of a sports person.
No, Christian.
Whatsoever, so.
Bruce is the UFC guy.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all
Just
something.
Google it.
Like, look, I grew up watching boxing. Right, my dad raised me on Holyfield, Tyson. I love watching boxing. This UFC stuff comes out, right? I watched wrestling and all growing up. So when I remember when Brock Lesnar signed up, I was like, I'm going to watch this UFC thing.
Mm-hmm.
We get one of these pay-per-views one time, and these guys are just hugging each other and doing missionary for like an hour. And I'm like, what? What the hell is this?
Depends on who's doing it.
Mixed martial. Hey, when Lesnar was in there, I'll never forget. Lesnar fought this guy named Heath Herring, and they ring the bell. He cracked him in the face. He did a backflip. I was screaming. I'm a Lesnar
Oh,
fan.
Yeah, me too. I've always been a Lesnar fan, dude. 2002 when he came in, that was a huge friggin' deal. Me and my best friend, he's my best friend. That's probably his favorite wrestler of all time.
Who is your favorite wrestler of all time? I gotta know.
Oh, Bret
Hart? Oh,
yeah.
Dude, we're gonna be best friends. I'm not even kidding. Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler. I always when I talk to people about the screw job, I'm always like I'm always team Bret. I'm always team Bret. Yeah. Sean was a prick. I like him now, but Nick, you're a UFC fan, aren't you?
Mildly. There's a couple guys I like, but there's one that I really like, and I've paid hundreds of dollars to watch his fights.
Conor McGregor?
Yes, the Notorious. Okay. Yes,
dude.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, Nick. When they fought when he fought Floyd Money, I went to this party, this house party. I was in one of my old bands. My singer from my old band, he had a house party. Everybody at that house party was team Conor McGregor. Mind you, I am actually Irish. Okay, I am Irish. I went to that party and I said, Floyd Mayweather's gonna make him look like an idiot, and they were like, "What? Are you kidding me? BS, F Floyd." I said, dude, he's undefeated. Now, I don't think he's a great, I think that the great Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, is the greatest boxer ever. He's a champion in and out of the ring. I don't think Mayweather is that, but he is a smart fighter. There's no denying that. He knows how to win fights.
That's the reason he's undefeated, is because he's great at evading. He's great at elongating the fight. That's his thing. But I will say, dude, nobody thought Conor stood a chance. I mean, this is boxing. This is an MMA fighter that goes into there. It was all just for show. It was for the payday. It was for the money. And you know what? Conor showed up and he held his own. And I think a lot of people were surprised. They were like, damn, this is his first boxing match. And he went up against an undefeated dude and did pretty well.
It was a good, good fight. It was a good fight. But I wonder if Floyd was, what do you guys think? Do you think Floyd was kind of like.
Watched that. Do you remember watching that?
Nope.
It's just like, no.
My mom's a huge Conor fan. So my mom's way more into UFC than I am. But I remember watching that fight, and I guarantee you there was something under the table where it had to go a certain amount of rounds. I guarantee you.
Without question.
Conor's a great striker, but I honestly think Mayweather was toying with him for most of the time.
I think so, too.
My favorite Conor fight is McGregor versus Diaz 2. That was a bloodbath. They went the distance. They beat the shit out of each other, and I loved every second of it. It was great. I mean, Conor's problem is he's gotten lazy now that he's so rich. It's like he wants to drink and party and not work at his craft.
That's what I want to do.
I know, but it's like
I don't want to do a damn thing.
He's not old yet. Wait a few
years. Eye of the tiger. It's literally Rocky. You lose that eye of the tiger, man. You get that rich, and it's like, why do I want to get my head beat in anymore?
Yeah. Yep.
So let me actually introduce our guest for once on this show. Poor Garrett. I was just like, hey, we got Born to Be. I don't even know if I said his channel name, Nick. I really don't even know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I've got permanent pictures here with us today. Tell guys, just go ahead. Tell everybody what the hell y'all do.
Oh, geez, putting us on the spot. We cover physical media, Blu-rays, that type of stuff, the typical stuff. Do haul videos every month or so. We've been covering a lot of horror lately. We just got done and getting ready to wrap up our zombie month. So covering a lot of different zombie movies. Stuff that I'm rewatching for the first time in a long time, stuff Anna's never seen before. So that's kind of the fun part about it is
I basically get to discover a whole bunch of new movies and just I'm like along for this awesome ride and I'm loving it. So
all right. Well, let me ask you guys this. Both of y'all. You said you're watching this zombie month. No. I'm behaving. I just want to know, what's your favorite zombie movie that you've either rewatched or discovered, or I mean, there's only one answer.
No.
Well, I think Christians that wants us to say zombie.
Not necessarily. I mean,
he would accept another answer.
Oh, okay.
That is a good answer.
I'm trying to guess what you think. But my personal favorite zombie movie is probably 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Yeah.
God, really?
Get up and storm out of the room, Christian. Come on, you got
okay, Ty. Let me talk to your wife for a second, Anna.
Okay.
Talk to me. Give me a good answer. What's been your favorite zombie movie this past month? Just come on.
The Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Oh yes, I don't know why I didn't.
The obvious in the room.
Nick,
but not like honestly, not just saying that because I know it's like a huge one of your favorite movies. I love that. It was so much fun. That
it's
movie
good.
Is great. Yeah.
It is great.
Yeah.
No, Nick, help me out. Now, he's a good dude. I like him. He should have a. I mean, look, I think the score for 28 Days Later is really great, but I kind of struggle with that one, man. Tell me what it is that I'm missing.
I agree.
Anna, take him out the room, Anna. Get him settled, straightened out. Come back in here, and we can do this whole thing again. No, I'm kidding. I like 28 Weeks Later better, to be honest.
So do I.
I like 28 Weeks Later a lot too.
I think I don't know what the problem with 28 Days is for me. It's hard for me to get into. I don't know if it's the visuals are a little jarring, the style. I don't know what it is, but we went to Gatlinburg 2 years ago, right after my son was born, and when he was like 3 months old, we were like, let's take a weekend getaway and get away from the newborn, and we stayed in a cabin. And I was like, let's watch 28 Days Later. You ever seen it? She's like, no, and it was on TV. And we're about 20 minutes into it, and she's like, I can't watch this. I just don't know what it is. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really into it.
I'll tell you what it is. And I know Ty is like a retro kind of guy. They shot that damn movie on an Atari 2600.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, Danny Boyle, he did that on purpose. That was, he kind of wanted that old feel to it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's better, like Dawn of the Dead, the OG. That's a way better film.
But you like 28 Days Later. That's fine.
Yeah.
We bust balls, man.
Oh, I know you guys do.
At least I do.
Dr. Sleep. I mean, Dr. Sleep. Just two words I got to say anytime anyone gets a hard time.
He gets three. Nick gets 3 Dr. Sleeps an episode. He said it twice just now. So he's got one more. You better space it out. Now, this is another thing I like to do before we get the show rolling. T-shirt time. I'm actually rocking.
You gotta do the t-shirt. You gotta get the Pauly D from Jersey Shore up in here now. Like you gotta do a little cut thing on the show. T-shirt time. Like every time we start this.
It's T-shirt time.
Now, Nick, what the hell? You got a balloon on your sleeve? What the hell is that?
Yeah, dude. Because of the announcement of the It prequel series that Welcome to Derry that's gonna be coming to HBO Max, I got my Skarsgård on.
A series? Is that a movie?
No, it's a series. It's going to be a series. Dude, it's HBO Max. It's supposed to be the same creative team. Like
Anna, talk to me. I ain't got time to watch all these damn TV shows. Am I right? You just want a movie, right?
You'll watch it.
You just want a movie. Ty, you want a movie, right? You ain't got time for a series.
Anything I would much rather.
Nick likes TV. What can I say? He likes TV.
No, I would prefer a movie to almost anything, but I'll just say this in defense of it. Somebody made a really good point on the internet, and they said, this is really good for the prospects of seeing a lot of Bill Skarsgård, because a lot of people's complaints with It and It Chapter 2 are we don't see him a lot. It's a lot more of the human characters. We want to see more Pennywise. Well, if you're getting a series, you're going to see a lot of Pennywise. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that.
All right, all right.
You'll watch it, Christian. You know you will.
I mean, I'll watch it, but
I don't know. Should I say that? You haven't watched Chucky yet. I mean, come on now.
I'll watch Chucky when Ty and Anna watch Chucky.
Oh, man.
How about that?
Those
you
are
guys
movies we have to go through, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't
It's
seen.
not.
He's talking about the show that came out.
It's not a bad show. The last 2 episodes really kind of get into the Don Mancini weirdness, but the first handful of episodes, they're not bad. They're really not bad.
All right. So anyway, Nick's got a really cool Pennywise shirt. Ty, what the hell? What the hell are you wearing? Halloween. Damn, that's actually cool.
Michael, it's
where'd you get that?
Dracula Bite.
Dracula Bite.
Yeah, they do every shirt they do a lot of video game shirts too, but every shirt that they do is crossover with music. So it's like heavy metal logos. This is the Mayhem logo.
Right.
The Norwegian black metal band. So they have a lot of cool shirts.
All right. Now Anna. His Infernal Majesty. Tell me about it, Anna. When did you first discover this magical band?
I was 14, so freshman year. I would have discovered them a year prior in 8th grade, because there was this girl in my class who had a pin on her backpack. I asked her about it, and her answer to me was, "If you have to ask, you'll never know." And I was gatekeeping him. And then I stumbled across it a year later. I was watching Yahoo Music videos, and Join Me in Death came on, and
oh my God,
I was done.
That's my favorite record, by the way. Razorblade Romance is it's the best. It's the best. That is so funny. When we did our interview the other day with that Jeepers Creepers director, when he said he was from Helsinki, first thing I asked him is about him.
I know. Watch. I was like, dang, right out the bat.
Oh man, well that's awesome. I'm glad you wore that shirt. Good taste. Is that your favorite band?
Yes.
Oh
without
man, they're in my top 5. Now, let's talk about Evil Dead, and let's start with our guests. Now, you guys, I was watching. I'm trying to finish it. The son of a bitch is 3.5 hours. It's a Scorsese episode. It's comfortable. Yeah, like it's really comfortable to sit down and just like do stuff around the house. So you guys, I heard you guys say we like these movies. We're Evil Dead fans. Tell me about Evil Dead. Tell me about this. Is that an image from the first movie on y'all's TV back there?
Yeah.
Tell me about this first Evil Dead. Why? Tell me about the first time you guys see this movie, and tell me why is it not the fan favorite? Why is Evil Dead taking a backseat to Evil Dead 2?
The Evil Dead, Christian.
The Evil Dead. You're right. Tell me why you guys think that's the case. I mean, you're fans of you have to be big fans of the first movie.
Yeah. You want to go, or you want me to go?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it was probably like 2001, 2002. I remember my uncle came out here from back east, and he would come to visit like every other year when we moved out here. And he came, and he would always bring his DVD binders with him. So big media binders just full of DVDs. And I remember one night he wanted to watch Evil Dead, and I'm like, what the hell is Evil Dead? And I remember him popping that in. And then we watched Evil Dead 2, I think, like that same weekend. And I was just hooked ever since, man. Like that's Evil Dead, like the original. I know people love the second one. People love the reboot. But the original holds a special place in my heart because that's like formative horror for me. Honestly, right. It really is.
And I mean, the first time you see it, it's not. Is it funny to you, or is it just fucking scary?
No, I was maybe like 11 or 12, so yeah, terrifying. And the first one's pretty dry, like the humor. The parallels to me, and I was kind of telling Anna this last time. We discussed a little bit, but didn't discuss like favorites. And I'm like, the parallels to me are like Evil Dead. And we'll talk about Evil Dead 2, obviously, but the parallels between TCM and Evil Dead,
money. You're right on the money.
It's like Evil Dead is right place, right time, right group of people, lightning in a bottle. And then Evil Dead 2 comes out many years later. What's like 6, 7 years later, whatever it was. Kind of like TCM 2, and it was just bigger, maybe better, depending on how you view it, but just bigger, more bombastic, more funny, just over the top. And that's the way I view it. I really get into, like, specifically talking about Evil Dead, I get into like cool stories, like friends got together, made a movie, got investors, and it turned into the fucking Evil Dead.
I know.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Putting cameras on particle board strips or whatever, running through the woods with it.
Yeah, like shit like that, like warms my heart. Like, I'm a big scenes guy. That's why I love like 90s grunge, like Seattle. I love Bay Area thrash, Norwegian black metal, because like I love that when like a group of people get together and that creative energy is flowing and they produce greatness, man.
Yeah, and you can see it too. Like, it's clear that they're passionate about what they're doing, and they loved it. So,
so Anna,
Sam Raimi,
Evil Dead. I mean,
so
why does this one take a back seat, you think, to part 2? I'm not saying you have to say whether you like part 2 or more, but like, you notice it, right? Nobody talks about it. It's always Evil Dead 2. Why? Why is it always Evil Dead 2?
I don't know, honestly. I love it, but it's funny. Like, I couldn't remember the exact moment that I watched these. They were kind of just always like a constant in my life. And so I actually asked my brother, I'm like, do you remember when we first watched these movies? He's 4 years older than me. And he's like, oh yeah, Dad rented it from Blockbuster and we watched it. And then he also said, I remember watching it again, like that same weekend with, that we had it from Blockbuster. And there was a bunch of kids around. I'm like, what do you mean there's a bunch of kids around? Like, it's just me and him. Right. And I realized he must have popped the movie in when my mom was babysitting, because she did daycare, and she probably had no clue that this movie was playing, because she wouldn't have allowed it. Right. I just think that's hilarious that a bunch of little kids are running around and Evil Dead's playing. So
if you know her dad too, that's such a crazy story.
Yeah, he's not really like movie buffs in my family, so yeah.
But
big love for Evil Dead, right? The original Evil Dead.
Yeah, I was telling you when you asked us to be on here, Evil Dead is one of the few horror franchises that Anna always loved. And like when we first got together, and it's been like 12, 13 years ago now, I remember talking to her about a little bit about horror and stuff, like Halloween, stuff like that. Like some of our first we saw H2, Rob Zombie's H2 in the theater together. So stuff like that. We saw the Friday the 13th remake together. Like that era stuff. And like, but it was always like, she's like, oh yeah, it's fine. But Evil Dead though. Like she always loved Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. Like that was always her thing. So.
Yeah.
Nicholas?
Christian?
Let me ask you a question, Nick. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, and I'll let you get into Evil, because look, I love Evil Dead. I love it. I love the original Evil Dead. Are you kidding me? It's great. My wife was the one that made me watch Evil Dead, but the only reason I initially saw Evil Dead, you'll relate to this, Nick. I don't know about these people down below me, but I know you will. So back in the mid 2000s, before I really started watching a bunch of horror, I was a Rob Zombie fan. Like a lot of our people ages were. We grew up watching his movies, listening to his music. He was the pop culture. So when House of 1,000 Corpses came out on DVD, I remember getting the DVD. I pop on the special features, cast and crew interviews. They asked Bill Moseley what's his favorite horror movie, and he says Evil Dead 2. So guess what I got to do the next day? I go to Blockbuster and I rented Evil Dead 2 because I had to see this movie that Bill Moseley loved. And so fast forward a few years later, my wife's like, do you like Evil Dead? I said, oh, I love Evil Dead 2. What about the first one? I didn't watch that. You kidding me? Bill Moseley didn't mention that. She said, what are you doing? You gotta see the first Evil Dead. What are you doing? Because my wife loves Evil Dead. Same thing. Big fan. And so I watched Evil Dead, and I'll be honest with you, Nick. I was like, this ain't as good as the second one. It's good. This was my initial reaction. I was like, it's good, but it's not Evil Dead 2. I mean, is that how you felt the first time watching those movies, or?
Funny thing is, you're taking me back in a teleporter to when I was in high school with in a specific relationship that I was in. Not good times, but good times thinking about the Evil Dead movies. And I actually saw the Evil Dead before I saw Evil Dead 2. And I saw these in order. And I loved the first one. I loved it so much. And I remember when I bought the second one and watched it, I was like, what the hell is this first like 15-minute? What? Like, is this a remake? Like, what the hell is happening here? Like, I was so confused, and I felt like it was just so goofy. And I was like, oh, the first one is actually creepy. Like, I don't know about this one. So I actually had a reaction that not a lot of people have when they first watch these movies. But I eventually grew to absolutely adore Evil Dead 2. But no, the Evil Dead, for the first few years of me really being into these movies, that was my favorite one. And it was like, wasn't even close for me. And then as I really grew to appreciate Evil Dead, we'll get into the next one, so I should probably not get ahead of myself. But yeah, no, I didn't have that reaction, actually. I was actually the opposite. I was like, Evil Dead 2, what the deer head laughing on the wall and a lampshade? Like, what the fuck? Like, no, it's the Evil Dead all the way. I mean, Henrietta is like, that shit's like nightmare fuel, and we'll get there. But yeah, no, I loved the first one. I felt like,
let's go there. Tell me about it. Tell me
Evil
about
Dead
your
2?
No. Well, never mind. I thought that was is that a different Henrietta in the first one, or what? The broad under the cellar.
That's Ash's sister. It's Cheryl.
That's right.
Yeah, Cheryl. Yeah, it's Cheryl. Cheryl's the creepiest part of the original film, in my opinion.
Linda's pretty creepy too.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I think my thing with the Evil Dead is that I think the reason that it got supplanted by another movie in this franchise as time went on is because, and it's by no fault of their own, it's just, I don't think obviously the effects aren't there for it. And they had a shoestring budget, but the passion is there, and the ideas come across on the screen. But when you compare it to some of the later movies in the franchise, you're like, man, if only they had this budget. Like, if they had this budget with this type of passion and I don't know, just freakiness, like, I think it would have probably stayed at number one. I just think that's the only thing that holds it back. I really do. I don't think there is a complaint about the Evil Dead for me, aside from just budgetary restrictions. But I mean, shit, that happened all the time in the 70s and 80s with horror movies that we love. So
do you feel like, obviously this was baby steps into Bruce Campbell's career, right? I mean, do you feel like he really hadn't figured out what he was doing yet?
Yeah, that was another thing that I was going to say. I did think about that, and I was going to say also Bruce Campbell, only performance in this franchise that he has that isn't amazing is probably the first one. It's not bad, but it's definitely seems like a young actor trying to find his, I don't know, his way. So
yeah, he's a little stiff. He hasn't loosened up yet.
Yeah.
So.
I honestly don't think they knew what they had.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they were friends. I mean, Raimi and him go back way back. But I honestly don't think they knew what they had. And you see that later, because in later, especially Army of Darkness, like, and especially the beginning of Evil Dead 2, like the beginning of Evil Dead 2 is like, it's just him for like the first like 15 minutes. Like, you get
right.
So I think they kind of realized what Bruce was able to bring to the character later. And I think Evil Dead 1's a much more like ensemble thing. Like, you got the Scott guy and stuff. Like, so there's a much more like less focus on him. I do think it's funny, and we laughed. We actually watched every one of these last night.
Jesus Christ, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. They're not that long. They're only every movie's like less than 90 minutes almost. The reboot is the longest one in the franchise. Because I hadn't seen them in a long time. There's some of those movies, like kind of like Christian, like where I don't want to rewatch them all the time.
You want to savor them and make them special.
100%. And I one thing we both laughed at the beginning when they're in the car and Ash is in the back, like Bruce has got that unibrow going on.
Oh,
like a
God.
bowl cut situation. I'm like, man, this is not good.
And like, he's such like an awkward guy, and then he turns into like this
like badass
B-movie badass kind of like sex symbol sort of like guy later. It's pretty interesting.
All right, the Evil Dead 1 is great. Let's move on. Let me just can I start? You guys mind
set the table. Set the table.
Evil Dead 2 is one of the greatest horror films ever fucking made. I mean, when look, I'm a horror comedy guy, and that's you guys know that's a hard type of. It could go so wrong. I don't know what the hell it is. The thing that I think what makes Evil Dead 2 so great is as bombastic and nuts as the practical effects are. It's that Bruce Campbell is still the star of that movie because he's so fucking crazy.
Yes.
He outperforms the special effects. That's amazing to me. I love Evil Dead 2. Let me show you guys something really quick. I've shown this before, but I don't get a chance to show this often. So this is the Evil Dead 2 laser disc. First of all, look at that art on the back. Look how beautiful that is.
Chris is gonna flex.
So, well, I never get to show this. So when this came out in the mid '90s, I don't know if I think they did a gold one for Evil Dead 1, which I don't have, but they made the Laserdisc blood red.
Oh,
wow, that's cool.
Now this thing is faulty though. Some of them, the blood red, the lasers can't read the discs. I don't have that problem. Luckily, mine was fine. But depending on your player, some of them couldn't read the disc well. But I love this. I love this thing, and my wife actually got it for me, but years ago. But I love Evil Dead 2. I don't know what the hell. You know what? I actually find some moments in this movie fucking terrifying. Nick will tell you that damn stop motion crap. Nick.
Oh my fucking god. Okay. Okay. Look, Evil Dead 2 is it's a masterpiece. It truly is. I remember watching. You guys remember those shows on like AMC and stuff that would be like 100 scariest movie moments, like countdown. And I always remembered that the hand possession scene was always in that fucking list. And I was so like enthralled by that. I was like, I gotta see this movie when I was a kid. And I told you guys when I first watched it, I was like, this is so zany and weird. Like, I don't know. The first one was creepy. And over like rewatches, I had come to realize, oh my God, the fact that this is so over the top makes this super unsettling and scary. My first reaction when everything's laughing in the room and Bruce is laughing and it's just like goofy was to laugh with it. And now I'm uncomfortable when I watch that scene. You're just like, this is not good. In a creepy way it is. But yes, no, the stop motion with the head rolling and oh God, just the stop motion in both of the first two movies, whenever they do, the specific scene, whatever. It's word salad right here. But yes, Evil Dead 2 is terrifying. And this is the one that I probably watched the most, this and 2013. I've probably seen the most just because I feel like this one has so much rewatch value. It's funny. It's got the weird hyper remake at the beginning. It's like, hey, in case you didn't see our little low budget turd, not a turd to us, but to mainstream audiences, let's recap it for you with new actors. I love it. Oh my God.
You know what gets me the most? Two things get me the most in Evil Dead 2, and then we're going to take it down to permanent pictures. When he looks outside and you see that stop motion skeleton woman
rolling her head.
That shit is right.
Dancing and shit. I'm like, nope. When I first saw the movie, I was like, no.
And this is what gets me the most. It's hilarious in context, but it caught me off guard so much the first time watching this movie when the headless chick, same chick, she comes through the door with the chainsaw and it's an actual dummy body, and the way it bounces, it scared the shit out of me. I said, oh shit. I mean, it got me. I love this movie. I mean, guys, I can't imagine you're going to say anything else besides, Evil Dead 2, it's one of the best ever.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's the best horror sequel ever.
I might have to agree, honestly.
If you compare it to the first one, I love the first one because it means a lot to me. But if you compare it to the first one, it's everything it does. It does everything that a good sequel should do. It's bigger. There's way more action. The comedy's way more on point. Like Bruce Campbell's way in his element. Like all those scenes where the hand possessed scene, he's bashing the plates over his head and he flips himself over. Like he's doing all that himself.
There's true character development there.
Yeah.
And story development. So it's great.
You get those iconic Ash moments. Obviously, you get Groovy in it. That whole shed scene. It's set up so well. It's everything. Like the gore is way more over the top. Henrietta we talked about. And last night in the credits, that's actually Ted Raimi.
Yes,
is possessed Henrietta, Sam's brother.
I love Ted.
Yeah. Ted was talking about it. He's like, the suit was so fucking hot, and I had to wear this thing for hours. I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe. Yeah, it's great.
The only knock against it, and this is just me being a stupid kid when I saw it the first time, even though like I just watched the first one, and I think in the same weekend I watched the second one. I was confused at the beginning of it. I was like, is this a remake of this movie? Like, it's so weird. And then they don't even mention the other characters because it's just him and Linda in the cabin. That's probably like, if I was nitpicking, that'd probably be my only thing. Like, kind of just take that stuff out. But I get it. It's they did it so many years later. Not a lot of people had seen the first one. This is the one they're putting all the money and promotion into. So I get it. Side note, like we talked about, obviously Bruce Campbell, but Sarah Berry, the Annie, the girl in it, she's awesome. She's really good in it. And then I was kind of looking at her Wikipedia. She's like a legit Broadway actress. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. You look up her Wikipedia and it doesn't, I don't even think it mentions Evil Dead 2. Like, that's how much stuff she's been in.
Disgraceful.
In Broadway. Yeah.
Should be your number one.
She was also in Chud, I think, which I've never seen.
But, I love Chud. John Goodman's in Chud.
Is he?
Yes, and the dad from Home Alone is in Chud. everybody is in Chud before they were famous.
I got to see that now. My last little touchstone on it is like the ending when like the house is gets haunted, the cabin, and the woods start coming alive and stuff. It reminds me of a Tim Burton film.
It really does, yeah. Especially with all the stop motion, the claymation type stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sam does a great job at it. I think he wears his influences on his sleeve, and he borrows enough from people where it's not like parody. But he just kind of dabbles it in there. And I would imagine if you talk to him, I imagine probably because there's around the same time, I think like the early Tim Burton movies and stuff were coming out. Maybe Tim was influenced by him.
Now let me ask you guys something. Maybe Nick knows. Is Sam the guy that has to have his car in every movie?
It's Sam or Ted. I think it might be Ted. I think that might be Ted's car.
It's them though. Like they have a car that has to be in every movie.
Yes, yeah, it's in every movie. It's even in the reboot. Yeah,
because the classic is even in Spider-Man.
Yes,
is that Uncle Ben's car?
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Let me challenge you guys. Let me ask you this. Is it a perfect movie, or is there stuff that you were like, we could have done this a little bit better here? I would have changed that on Evil Dead 2.
Well, let's start with Anna. What do you think?
Just the beginning. Just that little bit beginning of the recap. Honestly, that's it. The rest, it's perfectly fine. It's great. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything else.
And I'm not asking because I have an answer, but like what else? What should they have done? Because if it is kind of like a remake, I mean, you know,
I think they could have done something. I mean, he's clearly going crazy at some point, right? He's fallen asleep in the rocking chair. He could have a flashback of some kind,
right?
And it could be scenes from the first movie, you know, just showing all of his friends getting, you know, possessed and having to kill them and stuff. So I think they could have easily done it that way.
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't change anything, to be honest with you. I do think it really is kind of a perfect movie. That's one thing that we didn't really touch on that, you know, she just mentioned. That's a really good point, is not only is this about freaking demons and a book of the dead, like, and possessing everyone and shape-shifting and eating people, it's also about a man going insane. Like, and I don't know what it is that's so effective about that to me, but like knowing it, you wouldn't know what was real and what wasn't. At some point, the lines of reality get blurred. So you can only imagine what that character would be going through in a situation like that. Like, that in and of itself is already an interesting enough story. You didn't even need the Deadites. I mean, this guy in a cabin by himself going crazy. What's he seeing? Is it real? Like, it's, oh man, I could gush over this movie, but no, I would not. I don't think I would change anything, because I will say this, as much as it annoyed me and confused me when I first saw it with the recap, we wouldn't get the stop motion without the recap. That creepy ass scene of her dancing out there was the scariest thing in this movie, in my opinion. So I was just like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, Nick. Like, that's probably the scariest thing about it, like Ash's sanity. But towards the end, when the other characters, like the redneck guy and what's the girl's name, Bobby Joe or whatever,
yes,
when they come in, Ash is the sane one, basically, because he's the only one that knows what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's interesting that kind of flipped on its head.
It's a great play on expectations. It really, really is. And this movie is when Sam Raimi started to really become the Sam Raimi we know and love today. This is when he found what works best for him. And it was like, obviously we see it get cranked up to 11 in the next movie. But I mean, go back and watch the Maguire Raimi Spider-Man movies. And it is, especially the first movie, and it is amazing how many shots you'll see and go like, oh, that is so reminiscent of like Evil Dead. Like, it's just, it's Sam Raimi. Like, he just has a touch, and it started, I think, with this movie. So
yeah.
Also,
go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
Also, monster movies, like those early Spider-Man, especially 1 and 2, like with Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Like, those are great horror villains.
yes.
They really, really are. And they're almost set up like old school, like Universal monster movies.
Right.
The way it's shot. I could go on about those movies forever, man.
Well, you talk about that. That's why I love his movie Darkman. I don't know if anybody's seen Darkman. Oh my God.
Yep.
I love Darkman. That's one of my favorite Sam Raimi films. And it's so Sam Raimi. The way he does shots, he does these quick kind of like zoom in and zoom out. Like you just know it when you see it. Dude, he's the man. He's so identifiable. His movies are, even Drag Me to Hell. I watched that before I realized what a Sam Raimi film was. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Which is the reaction that most people had when they saw Drag Me to Hell. Quite frankly.
That movie messed me up.
You know?
Yeah, I had nightmares for weeks.
That was
one.
That was another one we saw in the theater.
Yeah. Dude, people hated that movie when it came out. Nick, people hated that movie when it came out.
Yeah, I know. It's funny too. There's a lot of people consider that like a loose spin-off of Evil Dead. I don't know if you ever heard people talk about that. They say it belongs in the same universe. And there are a ton of similarities. If you go back and watch Drag Me to Hell, you're like, dude, this could totally fit in that universe. It really could. And I think that was Raimi's way of kind of revisiting his Evil Dead roots. You know, and it's sad because I don't think he's ever going to get the studio to back him for what he wants to do. Raimi's been talking about for over 10 years. He wants to make an Army of Darkness 2. That's what he wants to do next. And I don't think they will touch that with a 10-foot pole. And it's sucks because we'd love it. Mainstream audiences, maybe not, but yeah, no, Raimi, he is itching to do it again. I know he is. And I'd love to see it.
Let's go there. Okay. It's time. And Nick, you mentioned it. 1992 or 93s, depending on where you lived.
Yes.
Army of Darkness. Now, this is where I might get a little testy, but I'm listening.
Who's going?
Go ahead, Nick. I'm talking to Nick.
Oh, okay. I got you. I was like, who's
don't worry, Ann. I ain't yelling at you.
Army of Darkness. Growing up, my Uncle Todd used to say all the time, Navy SEAL, you know, he's a Navy SEAL badass. That was my Uncle Todd. And he always used to say, this is my boomstick. And, you know, about just like randomly about random shit. I'm like, what is he talking about? My mom told me one day, she's like, oh, it's this movie from, you know, the 90s, like Army of Darkness. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember when I was buying these movies when I was like 12, I couldn't find Evil Dead 3. You know, I found Evil Dead 2. I knew there was another one. I'm like, where the fuck is Evil Dead 3? Yeah. And my mom was like, no, that's the Army of Darkness one. I was like, oh, that's the third one? She's like, yeah. And like, even looking at the poster, I'm like, no, it's not. And then it's like, no, it is. And then you remember the end of Evil Dead 2 and you're like, oh, I guess, yeah, they did kind of lead you into knowing that was going to happen. Dude, I love this movie. it is such a different experience from Evil Dead 2, but I'll be damned if this also doesn't have some terrifying imagery. When he's fighting the Deadite down there in that hole,
the pit
that
bitch.
shit is, yeah, that is awesome. The graveyard scenes, oh my God. I freaking love this movie like so much, and I loved it from the first time I saw it. I had a blast. The girl I was dating at the time when I was a senior in high school hated it. My wife now hates it, thinks it's stupid. Anybody I've shown this movie to is like, what? Why do you like this? And I'm like, you don't understand. I think this is probably Bruce's best performance, just because this is when he was truly just feeling himself. Like it was like, I'm going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. I'm going to be over the top, funny, goofy, badass savior of the universe. He's just, I absolutely love this movie. I love Bruce in this movie. Man, yeah, it's great. It's great. I've loved it since I first saw it. But what about you guys down there?
You want me to go?
Sure, you go first.
Man, I first saw it way after Evil Dead 2, maybe 2 or 3 years after Evil Dead 2. And obviously I knew there was something else because of the ending of Evil Dead 2. And they even tease it in the Necronomicon because they show the imagery of Ash in the Necronomicon, like in the 1300s or whatever, which I find interesting. I wonder if this is where Sam always wanted to go with this kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe you guys know.
He did. I'm sorry. Bruce did say that Army of Darkness was what Sam wanted to do for Evil Dead 2.
Oh, okay. So that's why that imagery is in the Necronomicon and why they end it the way it is then. The first time I remember watching it is we were playing. I don't know if you guys remember the PS2 Evil Dead games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was over at they're fun games. There's a cool PS1 game too. I remember being over at a mutual friend's house, Mike's, and he's an older guy. My brother was roommates with him for a while, and we were playing. He rented that game. We were playing that game, and I was talking about 1 and 2, and he mentioned Army of Darkness, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, you haven't seen Army of Darkness? Oh, you got to watch it. And I remember we watched it, and that was like the first time I saw it, maybe like 04, 05, and yeah, that movie it's way different. It's just a good time almost. There is scary imagery, like the definitely when he gets knocked down in the pit, and there's basically like an Iron Maiden in there almost. It's got slapstick humor all over it. It's almost like Three Stooges like, especially when the tiny ashes are running around. It's got cool effects, like the Army of the Dead is sick. I think it still looks awesome on rewatches. I want the 4K to come out eventually from Scream Factory, hopefully. It's got a great theme too by Danny Elfman. That Army of the Dead theme
when they march in.
Yeah. And like Nick said, I can echo that. It's quintessential Ash. When you think of Ashley J. Williams, you think of Army of Darkness. And maybe Evil Dead 2, but that's when that character really started, I think, is Army of Darkness. I love it. The ending is awesome. The climax is really cool. That whole ending climax build. And then probably the coolest scene in it is the S-Mart scene at the very end.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite scenes. Maybe you guys probably know this too, but last night we watched the original ending, and he's just basically stuck in the cave. He forgets to say the words, and he's stuck in a cave, and he just gets older, which kind of echoes the ending of the TV series, which I found an interesting parallel.
Yeah.
But I really love the S-Mart ending. I love it.
Oh, without question. Without question. Anna, how do you feel about Army of Darkness?
I love this movie so much. Again, I don't remember exact like how old I was, because these movies were a constant in my life with my older brothers. But yeah, this one for me is more quotable. I don't know if maybe it's because I watched it more or something, but I love everything about this movie. All the stop motion, all of the puppetry, everything is so great. I love it when, again, like the little ashes come out and they start fighting him. And then he's like eats one, or one of them jumps down his throat, and he ends up splitting into two and end up fighting himself. It's just great. It is slapstick humor. and it's just a fun time, but also very creepy.
Yeah. Well, this sucks because I have nobody to yell at. You know what? I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not gonna tell you what my favorite one is yet, but I'll just say this: I fucking love Army of Darkness. You know what this movie is to me? It's like a live action play, because the whole movie was like built in this fucking desert. They built, and I think that big castle thing actually was there for a while after they did the movie. They left it there. That movie feels like a play to me. Everybody's dressed up in costumes and shit. I love this movie so much. I think this is the most quotable one. I like it when Ash gets
1000%.
I like it when Ash gets the 2 heads. I remember when he gets when he comes out, he gets sucked in the book, and he's like, "Fuck this!" And then you see the book open back up, and then his head's real big, and so he starts shaking his head to shrink it. I mean, it's Scooby-Doo stuff.
Yeah,
I love this movie. This movie is just. It's exactly what Sam wanted to call the movie, Medieval Dead. It's Medieval Dead 2. It's the Evil Dead 2 with a lot of extra sauce and different I love this movie. I have the Laserdisc too. It's not as cool as Evil Dead 2, but I do have the Laserdisc. And, there's actually a picture of them on the back with the 2 heads right there.
Yeah.
One of the first things I asked my wife, like not long after we had gotten together, like when we were dating, I was like, what would you think if I got this tattooed on my back? And it's, obviously him standing there with the boomstick, the poster. I was like, would you judge me? She was like, no. So that is something that I've always told myself.
So you're going to get it on your chest instead?
I don't know. I think, I don't know. It's going to be the chest or the back. But once I find an artist and have enough money, because it's a big piece, so it's not going to be cheap. To really get this thing done and make it look banging, I'm getting that tattooed on me, and I'm so excited.
Here's a funny story. So I went on Amazon when I first remodeled. I don't know if you guys ever saw my channel before I remodeled my room.
Oh, I did.
I know Nick did, but this room used to be blood red, and everything was different here.
Yeah, I think I've watched some older videos of it. Yeah.
So I was remodeling my room. And I was like, let me get some new posters, because now it turned into the Freddy wall, right? But initially I was having different. I said I need an Army of Darkness poster in here, and I was like, which Army of Darkness poster do I want? You want to know what my favorite Army of Darkness poster is? It's the red one with Ash doing this.
Yeah,
with his hands in the air. The red where he's like, he's ripped, and then you see. Do you guys know that the Monster King guy? That's Bill Moseley.
Oh,
the main villain. That's Bill.
Wow,
that's Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta get this poster. So I bought the poster from a guy. I didn't buy. It wasn't like a Prime Amazon poster. I bought it off Amazon. It's $25. It's $27 by $40. I get the poster, and it's autographed all over the place on it. Rob Kurtzman's autograph. Tony Gardner's on there. All these guys. I emailed the guy I bought it from. I said, dude, what is this? And he says, oh, I mean, I met a bunch of the special effects guys that worked on the movie, and they signed the poster, and I didn't need it anymore, so I just sold it. So I have the poster autographed by a bunch of the effects guys.
That's
bought $25.
That's pretty great. Yeah.
So
well, then let's
just move on. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about Army of Darkness, because I'll it'll be mentioned again at the end of this. But I'm gonna start this.
Oh well, you just tipped your hand.
No. Hey, you got to look at the shirt I'm wearing too.
I know.
Let me just say this, guys. I went into this movie theater to see this movie called, what is it called, Nick? It's Evil Dead, right?
Evil Dead.
I'm going to tell y'all something. Me and my wife, we went to the theater pissed off. We both said, no Ash, no Evil Dead. That's what we said.
But we're going to buy a ticket anyway.
We're going to buy a ticket anyway, right? I walked into that theater. I sat down. I did this. I sat down and I did this. By the end of that movie kicked my fucking ass. I said that was the real deal. I couldn't believe I loved it. Because, it was good. What else do I need to say? That movie, I don't know what you guys think. because Ty, you told me Anna just watched this movie last night.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, I thought that movie was really good. I thought it was freaking. I'll tell you, when you see that the drug addict sister, which I think she was a recovering person, so I shouldn't say drug addict, but she was a drug addict.
Recovering drug addict.
When she was buried in the ground, holy shit!
Why do you hate me, David?
I mean, you know, I'll keep it short and sweet. I couldn't believe I loved it. I mean, I went into that same thing with it. Same thing, arms folded. Just bullshit. This ain't Tim Curry. What the hell is this jackass think he's doing? That's what I said to myself. What do these idiots think they're doing? They're going to touch Tim Curry? Are you kidding me? And I end up loving the movie. Same thing with Evil Dead. I can't think of a whole lot of other instances where I actually uncrossed my arms and was like, this is good. For better or worse, maybe I was still stubborn in those other films, but I couldn't believe how much I liked this movie. So much that I told Sydney, I said, we got to see that again. And we actually went back and saw it again. Now, I got to say, guys, I own the uncut version of this movie on Blu-ray. Do you guys own the uncut version of this movie on Blu-ray?
Oh, yeah.
Do we?
I don't know which one.
It's the bottom one.
Where is it?
There it is.
I don't know. Is this one uncut? I have no idea. Okay.
That's a regular.
No. Never seen it.
It's not Life and Death, but the uncut version is pretty gross.
Pretty
you
gross.
Can get it. You can get it on Amazon. It's
okay.
I got it. It's somewhere back in the bowels of those Blu-ray shelves, but I was made aware that there was an uncut version of this movie. It came out a few years ago, I think, and I was like, uncut. The movie was already bloody. You gotta get the uncut version, and I did, and I was like, holy shit, it's even better. It's gross.
Yep.
Now, obviously, Nick, we've talked. You love Evil Dead.
Yeah. Greatest reboot ever, I think. I think this is the cream of the crop. I don't think that, and I have, you know how I am about the term. It is not a remake. I cannot stress that enough. You know, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Fede Alvarez, they've all talked about, no, this is in the same universe. Ash is at the events of, you know, the previous movies have already happened, and because they eventually wanted them to cross paths.
Right.
So it is, it's a, I guess you'd say requel. I mean, technically it's like a loose sequel, but it's a reboot at the same time. You know, it's its own thing. But no, I absolutely love this movie. Right up there with Army of Darkness. This is probably the second most quotable movie in the franchise. The reliance on practical effects works in this movie's favor just so well. The abomination at the end is absolutely horrifying. Just crawling after. I mean, when Jane Levy has to literally rip her fucking hand off, I'm just like, oh God, like there's so much about this movie that is just, they really held nothing back. I mean, they really did not hold anything back, and it had the spirit of Evil Dead. Right. And it had comedy, but it was like the type of comedy that you laugh and you then think to yourself, like, how fucked up am I that I just laughed at that? Yeah, like, kiss me, you dirty cunt. Like, you know, stuff like that. It's just like you laugh, or what she says to her brother when he's at the top of the stairs, and I'm like, oh, but like you laugh. It's really dark. But I think that the show the one that steals the show in this is it's got to be Jane Levy. I mean, the kind of just the arc of her character and how she handles being like hopeful, recovering addict, to totally freaking out schizo, to possessed by a demon and cutting her tongue in half with a box cutter, to badass final girl, all in the span of like an hour and 40 minutes. I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome performance. It's a kick-ass movie. I absolutely love this movie. Yep.
All right. So let me ask you guys a question. Now, Ty, you told me my wife has to watch the remake. She hadn't seen the remake yet, right?
Yeah.
So, Anna, let me talk to you first. You watched Evil Dead 2013. When? Last night?
Last night, yeah.
Did you go into this movie saying to yourself, where the hell is Bruce Campbell? Or were you like, you already knew it wasn't Bruce Campbell, and you're like, let's just see what it's, or were you like me? Did you go into this movie saying, what the hell is this? Where the hell is Bruce Campbell?
Yeah, I mean, it was very strange him not being in this movie, But the tone of this movie, I feel like he really couldn't have been in, because this was so much darker. Again, there was a little bit of humor, but it wasn't Bruce. It wasn't his humor. So I feel like he wouldn't have fit well in it. No. So yeah, I was a little concerned at first, but I'm like, okay, it's for the better, I think, that he's not there. But this movie terrified me. I'm sorry. Like, I went to bed. I'm like, I'm gonna see his fucking sister, and she's gonna be crawling on the like side of the bed, and I'm gonna obviously completely irrational, but like it creeped me out. This movie was great because it worked. It terrified me. It really did.
So now, Ty, tell me about it, man. Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah, it was funny because I was telling Anna, like, I didn't go see this in the theater because I was a lot like you, but I didn't put money down to go do it. I was like, I'm not seeing it. It doesn't have Bruce in it. I'm not going to go see it. And we were going out at the time, and I think I remember us having that conversation. It was like, I don't want to go see it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know where she was. I think she was on vacation or something in Michigan or something, visiting family. And I remember it came on like HBO or Cinemax or something. We had like a free weekend. This is when I was still living at home. And we had like a free weekend trial of it. And I remember starting to watch it. And it's funny because we watched it last night. I remember like the first half hour of that movie. Everything else, I was like, I don't know. I must have fell asleep or something. So like last night was kind of like the first half hour revisiting things, and like the last 3/4 of the movie was basically fresh stuff. I really enjoyed it. It's got a kick-ass intro. Like that intro scene when they burn her alive, that's legit scary. And she's
rip your soul out.
Yeah, that twist in it too, because I was like, what are they doing? Like, fuck these people. This guy's gonna burn his daughter alive, and and then it twists, and she's a deadite, and I'm like, oh, okay, gotcha. That's why they're burning her alive. It looks awesome the way it's shot. Like, I think the cabin and the woods and stuff, I think it looks the best. Did they shoot this in Tennessee too? Like the first one?
I don't think so. I think this was shot overseas. But
gotcha.
I don't know where. I want to say I'm thinking New Zealand.
Okay.
I really am, but I'm not sure. Don't.
Oh, you know what? No, I think there is in the credits at the end of it. They think like New Zealand or something. New Zealand film commission.
Yeah.
That sounds right. But it looks gorgeous, man. Just the fog rolling in, like it looks awesome. I think there's enough callbacks in it to have good fan service. The classic is in it. Mia or whatever, she's wearing the Michigan sweatshirt, basically the same sweatshirt that Linda wears. So that's really cool. There's enough of that fan service in it to make those old school fans appreciate it, but it's not overly done, beating you over the head with it. The drug addict, the recovering drug addict, that concept is pretty cool because it's like, why are they all going to be stuck in this cabin? Mm-hmm. And the first one, they basically just get stuck there because the bridge gets blown up. The first and the second one, really. So it's like, okay. But they kind of get stuck there because they're all like, we're in this together. We're going to keep her here.
A detoxer, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a detox. That's what Anna said at the end of the movie.
They all wanted to be on drugs by the end of it.
I love the ending, the raining blood, like it's in your ear in that Slayer video. That's awesome. Yeah. The coolest thing that I probably appreciated most of it was the score and the sirens in the score.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's something like I can't recall hearing that often in movies, like just a random siren. Really, really cool and like sets the tone. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Mia's an awesome character, like Nick said. She's great, like awesome character arc. Probably one of the best character arcs, other than Ash, in the whole series for sure.
The bummer, first of all, to what you were saying about like the music and whatnot, this movie is just total sensory overload. I mean, and because it wanted to be the most visceral experience it could be. It's blood, it's fucked up dialogue, it's really jarring music, camera work. They wanted to just for an hour and a half have the film goer just be like, what the fuck is happening? And it totally works. But It's a bummer because I didn't realize that Jane Levy, after this movie, they wanted to do a sequel, and it made a lot of money for what it was, and it also got really good reviews. And she was the one that was like, no, I don't want to get boxed into being a horror girl. I want to do more. I did this to branch out. That was pretty much it. And then she obviously goes on to Don't Breathe. So I'm like, really? But yeah, it was a bummer because they wanted to do that. And I would have loved to have seen what Sam Raimi's intention was, which was to be, the timeline was going to go, and him and Fede Alvarez were working on outlines for it. This one, Army of Darkness 2, Evil Dead 2, a sequel to the reboot, and then the two of them meet, Mia and Ash, in the same story. That was the outline. And I think the thing that held it up, it was two things. It was Jane Levy saying, no, I don't want to do another one. And then it was Sam Raimi insisting that the next one be Army of Darkness 2. And the studio was like, no, we can't make Army of Darkness 2 following up the reboot. People will be confused as hell. Yeah. So, yeah. But, man, what a banger of a movie.
Probably like they were the first time he did Army of Darkness.
One thing I want to point out, too, is awesome, and it makes you like, oh, you cringe, is when the dude slips on the skin in the bathroom, and he hits his back on the toilet.
Ouch.
That's like, oh yeah, that was probably like one of the most cringiest things, because you could feel that pain. Like we've all slipped, and you
remember when Natalie's got the electric meat slicer and Mia's in the basement. She's like, don't cut it off, you fucking bitch. I'm just like, oh my god. And like the little like black leech looking things that they squeeze out of the wounds, and I'm just like, oh, like what the, it is gross. This movie's gross. You watch this movie, you're like, I need a shower. That was disgusting.
The only thing I think was maybe a missed opportunity, and this is a nitpick, is I would have liked it when the brother was digging the grave and he's going to bury Mia alive. I would have liked it if he would have hit Linda's grave.
Yeah.
And have Linda pop out as a deadite.
Stop motion and everything. Fuck it. Stop motion.
Yeah, maybe. Just anything, really. I thought that would have been cool. Maybe a little bit of missed opportunity, but I understand why they didn't. They had enough of that Evil Dead stuff in it to make it an Evil Dead film. Maybe that would have been too overboard, but I thought that was going to happen when I was rewatching it, because again, I don't remember like the climax or anything in that movie for whatever reason. And I remember, I was just like, it'd be funny if like Linda's hand popped out and he's like, what? There's other things here now.
I think that's the most effective scene in the movie, when he's burying her alive. I don't know if it's just the way it's shot and lit, but her face in that bag as dirt's going over her and she's like taunting him is like, oh, nah. That, I remember the first time I watched that, I got goosebumps. I was like, this is fucking scary. Like this is scary. Like, it's just, that's the best part of the Deadites, I think, when they mess with you. And this movie does that a lot, of the like, oh no, I'm fine now. Don't worry. Like, I'm not possessed anymore. Like, feel bad for me. I think this movie handles that the absolute best. So wow. What a movie. Christian, I believe from what you said at the top, or when we were texting, we're not going to touch on the TV series because it is 3 seasons. I did enjoy it though. I will say I did enjoy it.
I stopped watching it about halfway through. I was just like, I'll finish it later, and then I just never finished it.
That's one of the few TV series that we've watched recently, all the way through, and we binged it. Like we got the regular Blu-ray there, and that's awesome too. And it comes in that Groovy collection too.
Yep. Yeah, and season 3 is the weakest, and it's the weakest, unfortunately, because it was they crammed everything they had idea wise into one season because they knew it was getting canceled, and it doesn't work that much for me. I think the final episode is just, it's actually kind of bad. Whether it's the effects or it was just way too jam packed. People pirated it and streamed the show, so it didn't. Nobody was watching it anymore, legally at least. So it got canceled, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was nice. I mean, in the first episode of the first season, Ash is back. I mean, S-Mart, Ash is back. He's a ladies' man. Like, you're like, okay, Bruce Campbell's old as shit and he's a little pudgy, but he's still Ashley Williams. I'm down. So I had fun with it.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah.
So before we decide which is the name of the video, is what is the best Evil Dead movie?
Oh, great.
Let me ask you two guys down there this question. Now that you've seen the remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it.
Reboot.
Requel.
You probably have a little more of an open mind with this new movie coming out called Evil Dead Rise, right? You're probably saying to yourself, why can't they do it again? They did it. They did a good job the first time. Maybe they can do another good, whatever.
I don't know much. Yeah, I haven't really looked much into it. I thought when we first talked about it, I thought it was a TV show. I thought it was going to be a series. But it's a movie. And is Jane Levy in it?
She is not.
Okay. So is going to be centered around all new characters?
Yeah, but we have no idea if there are any connections to the previous movies. They have not. They've been really tight-lipped. All we know is that it is about two sisters trying to basically reconnect that have been estranged, and it takes place like in a high-rise apartment.
Oh.
And
hence the title, Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, and it has had 3 test screenings so far, and the reviews, early reactions are overwhelmingly positive. And apparently, although I know he's paid to say these things, Campbell and Raimi have both spoken about it. They've seen a cut of the movie and they said, "Oh, you guys are gonna fucking love it." Like, there's Easter eggs everywhere. I remember the director Lee Cronin posted a photo on the set of a prop pizza box they had, like for the pizza shop there in town, and it was called Henrietta's. So it's just, I'm stoked. Yes, but
me too.
Yeah, I'm more excited having heard that for sure.
Yeah.
And as long as, and we kind of talked about this last night too, like as long as Bruce and Sam are involved in some way, like a producer or something, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
There's not a clunker in this whole series.
Nope.
It's probably the only horror franchise where there's not like, no, that movie's really bad. Don't watch it.
No, which is why this movie is probably, if I ever discussed like what's the best franchise ever, I'd probably say it's Evil Dead.
I would too.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. The only franchise I think that comes close in terms of quality, at least for me, is probably Scream. And even then, Scream 3 is kind of, I could do without it. But Scream is a very consistent horror franchise as well. And I think they benefit from both of those franchises don't have 10, 11, 12 movies,
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, it's not completely bloated and just been pumped out for money. You can tell everything that is in the series it's very full of passion, heart, care. Like the people making those films cared about what they were making, which you cannot say for many of the other major horror franchises. Like eventually it became like, all right, let's just pump this out and make some money.
Yeah, and to your point about Sam and Bruce's involvement, to my knowledge, from everything Bruce has said, at least, they were both very involved with story treatments, set visits. Like, this wasn't executive producer label just so I get a paycheck. It was executive producer label, you better uphold the standards of Evil Dead.
Gotcha.
So that definitely makes me excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Christian posed the question.
What were we going to say, Ty?
Oh, yeah.
No, just a side note. I know you guys aren't huge gamers at all, but for other people listening or watching, the high-rise thing, and Anna will know what I'm talking about, reminds me a lot of The Last of Us 2. There's a level in that game where you're going through these apartment complexes and you're going high-rise to high-rise, and the infected is all around. And those are some of the best levels in that game. So
yeah,
I'm really excited.
I was literally thinking, like, ooh, there's a lot of potential for a lot of deadites in the high rise. So it could be messy.
I thought you were gonna reference Rampage, the old N64 game, because I just remember climbing on buildings and beating
George
the shit
and
out.
Lizzie.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
But Christian, tee up the question.
I'm gonna start with Nick.
All right.
So we're not ranking them. I don't give a rat's ass about ranking these movies. There's only one winner.
Outlander.
You two down there are going last. Me and Nick are going first. I'm sending Nick for Nick. I'll just ask the question. You elaborate as much as you want. What is the best Evil Dead movie?
I think objectively speaking, the best Evil Dead movie is Evil Dead 2. And I say that because while there is a confusing first 10 minutes of the movie, I think it hits every point that you need it to hit. I think Bruce Campbell gives a great performance. You have just his mental turmoil as well as the physical demonic turmoil he's dealing with. The isolation factor of this movie and how it's such a small cast, and even the cast that is added in this movie, you don't get a ton of interaction with them and Ash. This is Ash's movie. The isolation brings a claustrophobic, hopeless kind of feeling. It's goofy, but some of that goofiness is really creepy. It's like bordering on like mental breakdown. I just think that I just think it's the best one, hands down. I really do. And believe it or not, I struggled with 2013 as well. I really did. I absolutely love that movie. But I think that the thing that puts this one over the top is just Bruce Campbell had to carry this movie by himself, and he did, and he sold it. And, it's just one of the most memorable horror movies to me. I will agree with Ty. It is, I think, the greatest horror sequel. It's probably top. It actually is. We did our top 10. It is a top 10 horror movie of all time for me. So Evil Dead 2.
Damn. Well, you're probably all wondering, what is good old CHH going to say right now? I'm going to tell y'all right now what the best Evil Dead movie is. The best Evil Dead movie of all time. Of all time is a clear winner. It is a clear, mile winner. The best Evil Dead movie ever made. Of all time.
Jesus Christ.
Ever.
Just say it. I know what you're going to say.
Is Army of Darkness. The reason I'm going to let me tell you something. My head wants to say Evil Dead 2, but my heart has to go Army of Darkness. Now, I'm not trying to be the lawyer talking to the jury right now, but I just got to say, to marinate in your guys' head, Evil Dead 2 is great. He's not wrong. Nick is right. It's the real deal. Army of Darkness should have never have gotten made. Nobody ever lets the director just do whatever the hell they want like that. Army of Darkness is the most unique sequel I've ever seen. It is look, because let me tell you something. Is Ash Evil Dead? Some people would say no. I'm sorry, I still got to say yeah. As much as I love 2013, that Ash from Army of Darkness is Evil Dead to me. That movie is fucking nuts. There's like a bat gargoyle that flies over the castle.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? A bat gargoyle, whatever that thing is, it's like a mutant gargoyle thing.
It's Robert Pattinson.
There's a scene where Ash is laying on a rock bed thing, and he eats grapes, turkey legs, takes a bite of the turkey legs. Like, get that shit out of here. Army of Darkness is the funniest damn. Army of Darkness is hysterical. I asked my wife before I came in to do this stream. I said, Sydney, the episode is what is the best Evil Dead movie? She goes, huh, it's Army of Darkness, Christian. I said, yeah, you're damn right it is. I said, it's not Evil Dead 2, though, Sydney. She goes, Evil Dead 2 is good, but it's no Army of Dark. Army of Darkness is the greatest sequel ever. It's in my top 10 movies of all time. Now, Anna, I'm going to go to you first. No, I'm not. You're last. Ty, I see you're thinking right now, aren't you?
Not
no,
really.
You have an answer? Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Well, I already know I already know where Anna's going to go. Not because I know, but because I know. Let's just put it this way. Jason X is her favorite Friday movie. So I know where she's going to go.
Oh, my God. Army of Darkness cannot win.
Hold on.
Hold on. I want to say Evil Dead 1 because I love that, like TCM. I love those shoestring things. They shouldn't work. It's like put together with duct tape and tin cans, and like it's a car on its last legs, and it spawns a juggernaut. I love that. But objectively, subjectively, I gotta say Evil Dead 2. I can't call it the greatest horror sequel of all time and then pick a different one.
Yes.
Sure you can. I do
that.
I've done that shit on my channels. I have on my channels. So much.
That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, Christian singing Army of Darkness's praise is the greatest sequel ever. And then next week he'll be like, guys, let me tell you why Freddy's Revenge is the greatest horror sequel of all time.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2, man. Like, I think it's the... Outside of Army of Darkness, I think it's the movie easiest to rewatch. It's got just enough of the humor. It's not too slapstick like Army of Darkness, but it keeps it real dark, legitimate scares, laugh out loud funnies. I think it's the perfect mix, and I think it maybe not be the best Ash. I think Army of Darkness is probably the best Ash, but I think it's like that foundational block to what he would become, and it's the sum of its parts. Like they make a great package for sure.
Yeah. Plus, you love movies that are contained in one spot too. So I think
that's I love Evil Dead 1,
and I love a great package. So hey, I totally agree. But Anna, are you going to tie the score up, or are you going to give us a decisive winner?
She might pick the remake.
No. Great, but no.
Come on, Anna. Take me home. Let's go.
Even if she does, Christian, it's a tie.
It don't matter. I can't lose. Come on, Anna.
My husband knows me well. It's Army of Darkness. It's always been Army of Darkness. Will always be.
Damn right.
I love cheesy movies, and I love the Evil Dead, just everything.
Right.
All of these movies, and just all of that put together in one cheesy, fantastic movie. It's just perfect. I love it.
So I'm actually okay with a tie on this one. I usually would be pissy about this, but like, honestly, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, they deserve to win. They both deserve to win.
Mount Rushmore, bro.
But I just think that like there are people that have a higher form of like taste and class, like me and Anna, and there are people like Ty and Nick.
When we come to defending Army of Darkness, we talk about class. I love Army of Darkness. If I'm being honest with you, hot take: The Evil Dead is my least favorite. And oh my god, I know, right? The original, but. Dude, I love all four of these movies. I love them all. Yeah. They're all like 9 or 10 out of 10s. Like they just are. But I think that is the least rewatchable, believe it or not. The original, I really do. I think because Army of Darkness is so zany and fun. Evil Dead is a mixture of scary and zany and fun. And Evil Dead 2013 is a fucking bloodbath. It's like, yeah, these movies are going to hit. There's a movie for everyone in this franchise. So, yeah.
For sure.
Well, let's end this here. I know Nick's favorite movie is obviously Halloween.
Yes.
Now, I was listening to you guys talk on one of your videos, and I was very happy to hear that I think Anna's one of her favorite movies is 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula. And is that correct?
Yep.
Is that your favorite movie?
See, we're on our channel here. We're going to be doing guess each other's top 10. So I don't want to give anything away yet, but
okay. But you love Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah. I have a movie poster in my craft room over that he got me for my birthday last year. So it takes up most of my wall. So yeah.
So we want to keep this a mystery then. You don't want to reveal your guys' favorite horror movies then.
Keep the suspense.
We totally can. I mean, I know
at least that'll be a given, like a freebie on our.
Is that your favorite horror movie?
Yeah, I think so. Wow. Yeah, that movie is the first horror movie that I voluntarily put the VHS in, and it took me a few times to watch it because I was scared. So I'd pause it, I'd walk away, do something else, and then I'd push play again. So yeah, I think it has a lot of sentimental, value to me.
Now,
so, yeah.
now, Anna, let me ask you this before we get to Ty, because I'm a Dracula guy myself. Have you ever seen the 79 Frank Langella Dracula?
We have it, but we haven't watched it yet.
Please watch it. It's I think it's just as good. I can't decide which one I'd like more. I think I like Frank Langella a little. He is so suave and just he's so good. I think you'll really, and Donald Pleasance is in it.
Okay.
You got the Scream Factory Blu-ray? Is that what y'all got?
No, it's one of the other ones.
That's fine. That's fine. It's good. I think you'll really like it. It's the real deal. So, Ty, can I guess your favorite movie?
Go for it. Favorite movie of all time?
TCM.
Let me guess your favorite movie of all time, and let me guess your favorite horror film.
All right.
Now, I think you're a man of conviction. What's so funny?
This is like a tarot reading.
Okay. I think you're going to probably say no, but you're going to say close.
Okay.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Really?
There,
you know why I guessed that?
Why is that?
Because you got a big ass poster of it.
Yeah.
But the real suspense is favorite horror movie.
I'm gonna guess that. But am I right? Is it Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
It probably changes every day. If you ask me tomorrow, it might be something different. But yeah.
Let me Ty, tell me that movie just doesn't deliver. Look, I respect the people that love Terminator 1 the most. Oh, it's the horror film, man. It's the horror film. Terminator 2 makes me fucking whelp when he looks at the kid and says, I know now why you cry. I mean, that movie is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole package.
That movie is so quotable too. My brothers and I, we quote that movie constantly. The scene where they're in the phone booth. Your foster parents are dead. Like that's
your foster parents are dead.
That's hilarious. It's unintentionally hilarious. Arnold has such good comedic timing that he doesn't get credit.
Oh my god, he's the best. He's so good.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. Horror movie though?
I'm gonna guess Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Don't say your answer yet.
All right.
My guess of your favorite horror movie of all time is I think you're an Alien fan.
I love Alien a lot. I'd probably put Aliens above Alien.
Okay.
I'm a big Ridley Scott guy. I love Blade Runner, man. For the first Blade Runner, it's amazing. You just rewatch that movie. That's like Terminator 2 to me. Like I can rewatch that movie every day.
Right.
But I don't know, horror movie, man, it would be, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Silence of the Lambs. If I had two picks, it'd be Silence of the Lambs or Halloween. Carpenter's Halloween.
Why Halloween? Can I ask why Halloween? Everybody loves Halloween. What's the deal with Halloween? We're
not getting into this, Christian.
I don't get it, man. What's the big deal about Halloween? I don't. Halloween 2 is way better than Halloween, right?
I mean, if you smoke crack, yeah, I could totally see that. But...
Anna, Halloween 2, you like Halloween 2 better than the first Halloween, right?
I'm not getting in this. you guys
smart.
Duke this out.
See, I don't know if you watched the show a lot before, Anna. This is what I do. I stir the pot.
I know.
Yeah, but Christian, you mentioned...
If I answer, I won't be a tiebreaker, so it needs to be 3 of you. So
okay, Ty. We got a few minutes left. Halloween 2 is Halloween 2. It's better.
Right, I'm going to answer this, and I want to ask one question of Christian. Sure. I was reading through Evil Dead stuff last night while we were watching the films, and I didn't know like these tidbits. And I want to get your take on them.
He's dodging right now, isn't he?
No, totally not. I think Halloween is this is kind of a cliche phrase, but it's like foundational horror for a lot of people, and it holds a special place because of that. Like to throw it in like video game world, I'm a huge game guy, or even music. people say Metallica a lot, and Metallica is not the greatest band ever. They're not even the greatest thrash band ever, but it's a lot of people's first heavy band, and I think that's why it still rings true. I think Halloween is a lot of people's first slasher or even first horror movie. It's one of the first horror movies that I remember watching, that and Phantasm and Christine. Those are like my first 3 horror movies I ever watched. And that's thanks to my dad. And I think that's why, honestly. For me, like as I get older though, like the score, because I love synth, obviously Carpenter, like that score, I can just listen to that score all the time. Right. Watching that movie is like just like diving into a big warm bed. It's just like,
right. Oh, I get it. I get it.
To your point, it's you always remember your first time, whatever that first time is with certain things. I mean, you heard me talk about Metallica at the top. They're not my favorite band of all time. I don't listen to them more than I hardly listen to them anymore, but it's that introduction into that world that just gives you that comes to mind before anything else. So yeah, I would totally agree. And Christian, I want to throw you for a loop really quick. I love Halloween. It's my favorite franchise, but let me tell you something. I would put Evil Dead 2 above any Halloween movie over the original and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Well, you'd put it over except or over
all except Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and the original Halloween, but every other Halloween movie I'd put Evil Dead 2 over.
Okay, Anna. Evil Dead 2 is better than I mean, let's be real here. Evil Dead 2 is better than Halloween. I mean, that movie's just okay, right? They put a mask on a guy and played some keyboards. I don't get it, Anna. Anna, talk to me. Talk to Nick.
Honestly, I don't have much experience with the Halloween franchise, so I don't really. It doesn't really hold. I've seen them all.
You should keep it that way. Just like go through a blissful existence without being warped. Look, Nick is a good dude. Nick is not the kind of Halloween fan that will bite your head off. But there are too many of them out there that, like, if you say the wrong... Anna, listen to me. I bought a little Halloween mug one time at Spirit Halloween. It was a resurrection mug. It was a cute little mug, okay? It had a little cute little Michael Myers on it. I bought the mug. I post the mug on Instagram. Hey, look at my little mug. I go to the comment section. People have to tell me why this movie is a piece of shit. I mean, I can't even post that I bought a mug. This is the Halloween fans. This is the world I live in.
No, that's a gross oversimplification, and you know it. So
here's the thing, though, Nick. There's a lot of them like that. I deal with them
because it's probably the widest fan base when it comes to the big 3.
And the normal Halloween fans just keep their fucking mouth shut, is what it is. They just mind it. They watch the films and enjoy them, and then they don't give people shit.
You don't see me on social media or on forums going, "Hey, fuck you for not liking this Halloween movie." No, but I feel like there's fans of every one of these franchises. The difference is the Halloween fans are louder, and it's not right or wrong. I mean, it's wrong in the sense of like getting so offended that somebody doesn't agree with your opinion, but that goes for everything in life. I just feel like, look, man, we all love something different, and guess what? It's all subjective. So like, we can't say, well, Michael is better than Jason or Jason is better than Freddy. We can't objectively say that. It's all opinion. And so when people waste their time getting into the weeds with that, it really is that. It's just a waste of time. You're wasting your breath. You're not going to change somebody else's mind. You're not. I mean, I'm a Halloween fan. Look at the freaking wall behind me. Like shit. Like believe me, I hear enough about being a Halloween fan, but I don't get offended by it because I know I'm not one of those Halloween fans. So it doesn't bother me.
See, nobody's taking my fucking bait tonight. Like, of course I'm kidding. Halloween is one of the greatest horror movies.
I gotta work in the morning, Christian. I'm not trying to go 3 hours.
Okay, I got it tattooed on me. Like, of course, Halloween's one of the great. Nobody's taking my fucking bait, man. Damn it. Okay. Well, let's end it. This was fun, guys. Permanent pictures. What you guys got coming up? Apparently, you said you got Guess My Favorite Horror Film coming up. When's that coming out?
Yeah, I know you guys gotta go. I want to ask Christian one thing.
Sure.
Because we were watching Evil Dead last night, and because I know you're obviously a huge Wes fan in Nightmare. We're watching Evil Dead last night, and the Hills Have Eyes poster in the basement, how it's all ripped up. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of just put 2 and 2 together. So I just started digging into that. And then in the second one, you have Freddy's glove in there in the basement. And Freddy's glove makes an appearance in the show, too, when Ash goes back to the cabin in the show. And then in Nightmare, Nancy's watching Evil Dead, and she's falling asleep during Evil Dead, which is funny. There's all these, like, going back and forth between Wes and Sam. Like, what's your take on that? Like, kind of their digs at each other in the movies.
I don't know. That's cool. I just see it as like a loving kind of thing, right? I think if it started with Sam showing Wes some love, I'm sure Wes saw the movie and was like, let me throw this back at Sam and play Evil Dead. And I just think that's cool. I mean, also, this is the kind of guy Sam is. He gave the fucking Necronomicon book to the director of Jason Goes to Hell from the set to put it in Jason Goes to Hell. So I think that those guys just they you know, they're real dudes. They're not Hollywood dudes that just want to have fun and do shit like that, you know?
It started as that. You're right. It was like a bromance. It was like respect and whatnot, but it continued because New Line had that in the works and that idea for years. And actually there was a script for Ash versus Freddy versus Jason.
That's true.
Everybody was on board for it, and they got together. Like, people were hammering out details, and Bruce Campbell said, quote from Bruce Campbell, yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to kick both of their pussy asses. Something along those lines. And New Line said, no, you're not going to be able to do that to our characters. And Bruce Campbell was like, well, I'm not going to be a part of it if you're just going to kill Ash. Like,
they're scared.
Yeah.
And then they did they made it a comic book, which those things are going for like hundreds of dollars now, I think.
But he wanted to do it, and he wanted to beat them both. And New Line said, okay, we were going to do this, but no, we're not doing that.
I mean, let's be real. Freddy would have beat the piss out of Ash. I mean, are we joking here?
Yeah, you're right. The guy that took on a bunch of demons, you know, throughout different centuries would have lost to a 5-foot tall man with razor hands in the fucking dream world. Get out of here, Chris. Get out of here.
Dude.
Ash could take Freddy, Jason, and Michael, all three of them. And I'm a Michael guy. He could take all three of them.
Are you kidding me? I could take Michael Myers. He's
okay. James Jude Courtney. Yeah. Tyler Mane. All
you got to do is run.
That works out really well for a lot of them in these movies. No, I'm just giving a hard time. But it is true. I think Ash, he's so resourceful, and he has seen some shit. I really would have loved to see them face off, because although it would have been like the campiest, zaniest, weirdest movie ever, I think it would have been awesome.
Oh, that'd have been cool.
Yeah.
I think if Freddy's in the dream world, though.
Yeah, if he's in the dream world, he's screwed. But if Ash is smart enough to bring him into the real world, it's game on. It's game on.
Sure, and a bunch of teenagers were, so I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ash, like, he could slip in and out of like being possessed type of thing, and he can slip into the dream world as well and take him on. Like, he's lost his mind quite a bit. I think he can go there and be fine.
He lets that deadite in him, and he's like, "Come here, bitch." Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. All right, guys, this has been fun. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and talking Evil Dead. This worked out pretty good, man. Last minute, but I appreciate. I like having guests on these. When me and Nick do these franchise things, it's always fun to just get people involved. So I'm glad you guys came on.
Yeah, it was super fun, guys. Thank you guys for giving us your time.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. It's awesome. Like, we watched nearly every episode, man. Like, I was driving up to my dad's during October time, like every week. I was working on my bike up there, and I would just put on, it's about an hour drive, and I would just put on an episode going up and put on an episode going back.
It's interesting you say that, because I don't get to hear from the audience too much. Do you have a favorite episode, or is there one where you're just like, that was a good one? Because we like to hear from the people.
The Return of the Living Dead episodes, they're some of my favorites. I love you guys talking about those. Anytime Piz is on, as well, we love watching those. The TCM episodes you do with Piz, and also the Friday episodes you do with Piz.
Oh yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I love the Terminator and Alien face off too. It's kind of one-sided.
Yes, it is.
But I love this franchise face off, and there's only so many you can do, unfortunately, before it kind of gets redundant. But I like those too. You guys are doing a good thing, and if anybody wants to check us out, coming up, we're gonna do like a guess our top 10 favorite movies, because it's something we've never really talked about. So kind of like the dating game or whatever. Like, can she guess my top 10 and can I guess her top 10? We're going to wrap up our zombie month and talk about all the zombie movies. We just watched Dead Alive for the first time.
Money.
Which talk about like an Evil Dead type of movie. Like that movie, especially towards the end, gets very crazy like Evil Dead. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, guys, check them out. Permanent Pictures. And again, guys, it was great. We had a great discussion, and thankfully Christian didn't get his clear winner that he wanted.
I know, I'm a little pissy about it, but I'm just glad. If Anna would have said Evil Dead 2, oh, I would have thrown a fit. He would have
ended the show right there.
It would have got all stupid up in here. I could have promised you that. Okay. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Everybody listen. Thank you. We love you. This has been another episode of the Uneeda Horror Podcast.
All new.
This has been a production of the Uneeda Horror Podcast. You need it. We got it. Thank you for listening.